When you think of Uttarakhand, what's the first thing that pops into your head? I'm guessing it's lush green forests, maybe some towering snow-capped peaks, and all the monsoon rain that keeps everything so vibrant. But what if I told you that hidden deep inside this green paradise, there's a secret? A huge, barren, cold desert.
Yeah, I know it sounds completely impossible, right? A desert in one of India's greenest states? So that's exactly what we're going to unpack in this explainer. We're going to figure out how this incredible landscape even exists and take a trip into this once forbidden valley.
So let's just jump right in. Look at this contrast. On one side, you've got the Uttarakhand we all know and picture in our minds. And on the other, you have Nilong Valley. It is just wild to think these two completely different worlds exist right next to each other, in the very same state.
Okay, so how is this even possible? Well, it all comes down to one thing: geography. Nilong Valley is a secret cold desert for a very specific reason. It's a land that lies just beyond the reach of the monsoon rains. See, a cold desert isn't about being hot. It's all about the lack of moisture. The massive Great Himalayan Range acts like a giant wall, creating what scientists call a rain shadow. It literally blocks the monsoon clouds coming up from the south, leaving Nilong totally dry and arid. The landscape ends up looking a lot more like Ladakh or Spiti Valley.
And when we say high altitude, we really mean it. The average elevation here is over 3,500 meters. That's more than 11,000 feet up. This crazy height is a huge reason for the harsh, cold climate and why you see almost no trees at all.
You know, to really appreciate just how unique Nilong is, you have to understand the journey to get there. And believe it or not, it starts not in a desert, but in the incredibly green and gorgeous Harsail Valley. It's like this lush introduction to a completely lost world.
The route itself kind of tells the whole story. You start off from Uttarkashi, which is the main town in the area. Then you push through the absolutely stunning Harsail Valley. You hit this dramatic gateway called Bairangadi, and then, finally, you enter Nilong. Every single step takes you further and further away from that familiar world of green.
So the real journey begins in Harsail, and it is the last green oasis you're going to see for a while. Just picture it: dense deodar cedar forests, apple orchards everywhere, and the crystal-clear Bhagirathi River flowing through. It is a perfect mountain paradise, and you need to soak it in, because it's the last one you'll see before everything changes.
Now, this whole region was massively shaped by this one really fascinating historical figure, Frederick Wilson. He was a British army deserter who basically became the Raja of Harsail. And his legacy? Well, it's complicated. On one hand, he introduced apple and kidney bean farming, which are still staples today. But on the other, he was responsible for huge amounts of deforestation and hunted the local wildlife almost to extinction.
Of course, the original people of this land are the Jad community. For centuries, these semi-nomadic people thrived here, trading things like wool and salt with Tibet. Their culture is this really unique mix of Tibetan Buddhism and local Hindu beliefs. But their entire world was turned upside down when they were forced to leave Nilong Valley after the 1962 Indo-China War.
So, after leaving the green comfort of Harsail behind, you finally reach the gateway to the Forbidden Valley. And this is where the journey really shifts as you cross over into a completely different world.
And this is the gatekeeper, Gartang Galai. It is an absolutely mind-blowing piece of engineering, a narrow wooden walkway that is literally carved into the sheer face of a vertical rock cliff. This path, which was also built under Wilson's direction, used to be the main trade route into Nilong.
This path just hangs there, hundreds of feet above the Jod Ganga River Gorge. I mean, for centuries, Jod traders and their loaded mules walked this terrifying route. It was recently renovated and reopened for tourists, and let me tell you, crossing it is a truly heart-pounding experience. And then, after that incredible crossing, you finally made it. You are now in Nilong Valley. It's a land defined by echoes of its past, a place of just profound silence, of ghosts, and of incredible grandeur. The valley's story took such a dramatic turn. For centuries, it was this bustling trade hub, but then the border conflict with China silenced everything. The people were forced out, and the valley became a restricted military zone, completely sealed off from the world for over 50 years. You feel that silence most deeply in places like Jadung. It was one of the two main villages in the valley, and now it's a ghost village. All that's left are these beautiful ruins of traditional stone houses with these intricately carved wooden pillars. They're just these haunting,
physical links to a way of life that basically vanished overnight. But the valley isn't totally empty. This stark, high-altitude landscape is home to some incredibly tough wildlife. If you get extremely lucky, you might just spot an ibex navigating the cliffs, or maybe a Himalayan bear. And if you win a lottery, you might even see the most elusive resident of them all, the snow leopard. And just when you think the valley has shown you all of its barren, rocky secrets, the journey offers one last, absolutely breathtaking surprise. At the very end of the trail, you find Janak Tal.
At a staggering altitude of 4,200 meters, there it is, Janak Tal, a crystal-clear, stunningly blue alpine lake. It almost doesn't seem real, this vibrant oasis of color and life right in the middle of a brown and gray desert. It's just an unforgettable reward for making the journey into this lost world.
And an experience like this leaves us with a really important question. As places like Nilong Valley slowly start to reopen to the world, we have to ask ourselves, how can we explore these ecologically and culturally fragile places, these lands of ghosts and memories, without disturbing that profound peace that now defines them?